Welcome back. Bowlmas, day 11. It's the final stretch, but the views from Section 400 boys got you locked in and covered for a full NFL slate as we get into crunch time and the tail end of the NFL season. You don't need an introduction. I'm Matt. I'm with Jack and Brian, and our special guest, the behind-the-scenes man who does it all, Will, has joined us to give some guest analysis on the slate this weekend. Will, what's going on, man? Thanks for hopping in.
What's going on, everybody? It's nice to actually hop on the pod for once. I'm the one that's always doing all the behind the scenes work, editing everything on the pod and going through all the nonsense that I have to go through. But yeah, no, it's awesome to jump on the pod and finally get an NFL show in, and the Bowlmas has been great. All the special guests has been so good so far. So let's keep it rolling.
Just keep it rolling, man, just like you said. And before I get into the show, I just wanted to get you guys a quick question out of the way. And it's a little bit off guard because you guys aren't ready for the question I'm going to hand you. It's not a hard question. But as obviously the NFL season comes to the end, we start talking about NFL awards. The NFL or the elephant in the room is Damar Hamlin should win Comeback Player of the Year.
Look, I respect Damar Hamlin and the fact that he was able to come back to the field, but it's not like he's an impact player. Let's save these awards for people who, really, in my opinion, deserve them. With their playing on the field, not just for the story op. And that might be me being a little harsh, to the Damar Hamlin and what he had to go through. But no, I'm thinking other players who, had really tough injuries or maybe, my favorite. I have two favorites. Neither of them are Damar Hamlin. One is Tua. He had the plethora of injuries last year that took him out for the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure we all thought we saw him die that one Monday Night Football game against the Bengals. Maybe it was a Thursday night game, but that was a crazy one. He came back this year and was in the MVP conversation for most of the year. Some may still have him there. I don't, but I like him for Comeback Player of the Year. And then I also like the great story. Obviously, you're gonna love this one, Matt. Joe Flacco. I mean, come on. For a guy who Super Bowl MVP almost a decade ago, and now he's come back and he's leading this Browns team to potential, number one seed. I know they need a lot of things to bang their way, but they're going to be in the playoffs and they're going to be a force to reckon with. So I like Joe Flacco. I like Tua. Don't really love the Damar Hamlin case, but Brian, what about you? What do you think about Comeback Player of the Year?
Yeah, no, Damar Hamlin deserves it. The dude died. He was dead, and he's come back, and he's practiced with the team. He's played a few snaps. I know he's not a big part of the team, but honestly, guys, if I was dead on a football field, I wouldn't step foot near a stadium for the rest of my life. So the fact he's even doing that is deserving enough. I will say Joe Flacco, what he is doing right now is pretty incredible. The dude has 4 kids. He's 38 years old. He can barely walk, but he can throw the damn football, that's for sure. So in terms of just pure football standpoint, it's Joe Flacco, but Damar Hamlin died on a football field, and he's come back and continued to play football. So he gets my vote there. But yeah, Will, let's see what you got.
500 to win the Comeback Player of the Year because it was like rumors that he was potentially like practicing and he was gonna easily play or eventually play some point in the season. And hell, now the guy's starting. It seems like he's starting pretty much every week. I'm pretty sure. So it's crazy where it's at. I mean, and at some point last year, there's conspiracy theorists that saying like when he was in the box, like you couldn't see his face, so maybe it's not Damar Hamlin that's there. Like the just absolute nonsense, crazy stuff. But Damar Hamlin probably is easily gonna win it this year. In a way, I kind of want it to be Joe Flacco just because it's like Joe Flacco, was he? I can't even tell you if he was on a team last year. If he was, I think he was like maybe the 3rd string QB on the Jets.
Yeah, he was on the Jets.
I mean, that's a death sentence already right there. So now he's on the Browns, and now that they're just winning every game. He's throwing for 300 yards. He's literally putting up better numbers right now than he did in his prime with the Ravens. Like that's insane. And he doesn't even have like crazy. I mean, his weapon, like Amari Cooper, like all of a sudden Amari Cooper is just like a top 5 receiver right now. Like he literally had 250 yards and 2 touchdowns against
Yeah, the Texans.
the Texans. So
Yeah,
I mean,
But
Njoku too. I mean, he's always been talented, but Njoku is a
yeah,
top tight end in the league.
all of a sudden Joe Flacco just making everybody around him elite.
I don't know
Elite Joe
how.
Flacco making everybody elite.
I don't look. I don't know how it's not Joe Flacco. This guy's come back. He's thrown what 5 straight 300-yard games, 4 straight 300-yard games, and it's a small sample size. But Damar Hamlin's a small sample size. I know you're saying Willie's starting every week, but I'm pretty sure this guy has recorded under 10 tackles the entire season, and as far as I'm concerned, hasn't made any impact plays on the field. And to be even, more just brutally honest, I'm pretty sure he's basically like a special teams guy. So the award is for your, comeback efforts on the field. I get it. The guy died. If he died, I don't know how he's alive right now. I don't know any stories where you come back from life. I get it. Like his heart stops. So technically he died. You can have like
That's
play
what
with the words
CPR is.
there.
You're bringing people back to life.
You
Yeah.
can play with the words there however you'd like to, but look, it's on the field accomplishments. I get it. The guy died, as we're titling it, and he came back to life. Great, and now he's playing in the NFL. Awesome. You want to maybe name the award after him, which I think is also maybe a little ridiculous, but go ahead and do that. The guy doesn't deserve to win the Comeback Player of the Year award. I'm sorry. Either make a new award for a guy that dies on the field and comes back, or call it the Damar Hamlin Award. But in terms of on the field accomplishments, not there. And that's the award isn't for what I just said. So
I mean, he should win because he died and he's just playing football. But I think naming an award after,
like, I get it. He fucking almost died or came back. Like, and I might be like so out of touch of reality or tone deaf or whatever you want to call it. But like, dude, I just feel like it's so dramatic to say the guy died on the field. Like, it just seems so dramatic. And again, I'm not trying to like make a joke of the situation or like I said, just make fun of it or whatever. But it just seems a bit dramatic. I don't know. I don't want to get too far into it.
all I want to say just to end this is I think if the NFL came out with an award to name a person that died to come back, I think that's a little bit problematic. But the NFL loves being problematic. So Roger, go ahead.
Yeah, are you kidding me, dude? That's like their middle name. Is how can we create problematic headlines?
But that's all I have for that.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Get it right into the barn burner of the top game. Obviously, this is coming out on Sunday. So we are missing the Cowboys-Lions game. We obviously don't know the result of that, but should be a fun one for a little Saturday night pregame before you guys went out to the bars. Hopefully, everybody's nice and hungover for New Year's Eve and is catching up with the slate that we're about to get into. We're looking to stay red hot like every weekend. I know we've been trending in the right direction. At least to speak for myself, I've been a little better on the player props, so definitely tail the player props. But other than that, jump right into it. Titans, Texans. CJ Stroud looking like he'll play in this one. Finally back on the field, and they're 8-7, right? They're right there in the race to get something done. Jack, Texans are the divisional rivals of the Jags. Trevor Lawrence not playing this week. We'll get to that game shortly. But how do you see this one playing out in the Dome down in Houston?
Yeah, so Texans, Titans, they both get their starting quarterbacks back this week, Stroud and Levis. These guys met 2 weeks ago. They didn't have Texans didn't have Stroud then, but these two teams met 2 weeks ago. I'm expecting a similar result. I mean, it was a defensive, hard-fought game, a lot of field goals. I definitely think with Stroud, as their quarterback, they were going to be able to push the ball a little bit more. So I like the Texans in this one. But my bet in this one is going to be Fairbairn, the Texans kicker, over 6.5 points. He kicked 4 field goals against them last time they played just 2 weeks ago. So I like that. I like him. Give me the over on his field goals and points.
Gotcha. I don't bet on that too much, but
That is a Brian bet right there if I've ever seen one.
That's pretty fun. But yeah, Will, over to you, man. I mean, where are you seeing this? Is this going to be a field goal shootout? Are you tailing some field goal props here, or are
No,
you looking a different direction?
I think I'm gonna look a little bit of a different direction than that. I'm not entirely into field goal kickers as much as Brian or Jack over there. I mean, Brian's too busy doing fantasy football with punters. So, before I get into that though, um, I absolutely love the Texans here. I think this is a smash spot for the Texans. The Titans are like one of the worst teams on the road this year. Their numbers from difference between home and away this year are insane. I think they're 1-6 or 1-5 on the road this year. They just can't win unless they're at home. They can't win unless they're at home. CJ Stroud is back. I believe everybody on the Texans is healthy. No issues with, I think Nico Collins is good to go. Um, and I think Dalton Schultz is good to go. So everyone's healthy there. I love the Texans in this spot. There's two things I like in this game. I like the Texans total points over 24.5. Titans defense is just too shaky. 24.5. I think it's too low, and I could just see this game easily being like a 30-13 game or something like that. And if you don't like the over on the points, just take Texans -4.5. I believe 4.5 is the line.
Yep.
Yeah, it's four and a
Yeah,
half.
4.5. Even if you wanted to say screw it and take 6.5, I honestly truly think you could take 6.5. But my official play is going to be the Texans over 24.5 total points.
Yeah, I love what Jack said about this game being a lot like the first meeting between these two this season. These teams are still relatively young in the NFL, but of course they're division rivals. They're 23-20 all time against each other, and 3-3 in the last 6, and those have all been decided by a touchdown or less. So this will be a close game. The 4.5 is a little scary, but with CJ Stroud back, I do like the Texans here. I'm gonna buy it down to 2.5 and take the Texans on the alt team total, just to get it kind of even. I will say before I end my take here, the Texans looked like the old Texans these last 2 weeks without CJ Stroud. And in a year where the MVP race is kind of clouded, it's looking like Lamar's the favorite now, but his numbers aren't that crazy. CJ Stroud is my MVP. I know he's not going to win it because of the injuries, but the difference between him on the field and the Texans when he's off the field, it's insane. You can't tell me he's not the most valuable player to his team in the league right now.
It's definitely a night and day difference, right? I mean, he's just unbelievable when he plays, and like you said, the Texans have looked horrible the last couple of weeks. So definitely a night and day difference. And to roll into that, I'm just taking him over on the passing yards. This guy lights up the field. It's in the dome. I'm not going to take like over under for total points of the matchup because I can't trust the Titans. But give me CJ Stroud to soar over his passing yards. I think we see a 300-yard day out of him. To Will's prediction, if they put up 30 points, probably going to be airing the ball out quite a bit. And, they'll let him get loose. He's healthy. He's ready to go. Let him get back on track. Look for the Texans to win the game, but really want to lock in that over passing yards. But moving on, I guess it's what? Falcons, Bears. Ugh, what a shit show. I hate Arthur Smith. I mean, I'm sick of seeing the guy on the sideline week in and week out. I did hear his seat's getting a little warm, and he needs to have a strong finish to the year to kind of solidify his role and job and position next year. With that being said, I hope they flounder out, crash and burn, and he gets fired the day after the last game of the season. Give me the Bears on the money line. Brian, I'll jump to you.
Yeah, I don't hate the Bears here, especially at home when it's going to be cold at Soldier Field and the Falcons are used to playing in that dome of a stadium that doesn't sell Chick-fil-A when they play for some reason. But, instead, where the Chargers, we saw them kind of give up on Brandon Staley when he was put on the hot seat, I do think the Falcons are going to play for Arthur Smith here. He's kind of like that flag football coach you had in elementary school that's going to play every player on the team. So the locker room likes him, I think, relatively. Maybe not Bijan Robinson and maybe not Kyle Pitts, but the rest of that locker room likes him just because they're not that talented and for some reason they still play. So for that reason and that reason alone, I'm going to lean the Falcons on the road here +3. And I think they're going to make something happen, at least trying to stay alive in that NFC South and I guess NFC playoff picture. They're not going to make the playoffs, but they're going to try their hardest this week.
Pretty much the opposite of Brian here, which is some fun to see. I don't like the Falcons here. Another team, and the Falcons are another team this year that just also sucks on the road. They really only can truly win games at home this year. And the Bears, so one thing I haven't really heard much with the Bears is how much their defense has really stepped up over the last few
Mhm.
weeks. Nobody really talks about that. The last 5, 6 weeks, they've been like a turnover machine, just forcing turnovers, sacks like crazy, and they've held some good offenses like the Lions. They've held them twice to, I believe, under 20 points. And then they played I think the Vikings as well. They didn't really give up much, so their defense has been really good. Um, Not really like crazy with any player props here. Because like the over under on this game is so low at 37.5. Desmond Ritter is starting in this game, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Or is it Heineke?
It's gonna be Heineke most likely.
It's gonna be Heineke again. So that's like, God, it's such a mess over there with quarterback. I mean, like 1 week it's Ritter, 1 week it's Heineke. It's a goddamn mess. I don't.
And
It's crazy.
they're like two polar opposites too. Like Ritter just doesn't throw the ball downfield, and Heineke just doesn't give a fuck
Yeah,
about
it's
anything.
crazy. And then with this game being in Chicago, with the Bears have been just kind of turning around recently. Give me Bears -2.5. I can see them. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I can't really take the under because it's so low to begin with already. So I just like the Bears -2.5 here.
Yeah, man. Let's go Bears. F you, Brian. You Arthur Smith enthusiast. Jack, over to you.
Yeah, I'm with you two down there. Not with you, Brian. I pretty much am on par with exactly what Will said. I for one will have been saying that the Bears defense has looked a lot better over the past few weeks. Ever since getting Sweat, they've really just turned it up and kind of playing like rabid dogs out there. It's pretty awesome. Them and the Raiders are awesome to watch on defense right now. At least over the past few weeks. But my play in this one is going to be Bears money line, riding that with you guys. I'm also going to parlay that with the Falcons under 17.5 points. I really just think that this Bears defense is going to get after them, cause some turnovers, a lot of sacks, and I think at the end of the day, they're going to hold them, and Bears get it done.
Brian, I really hope the Falcons flounder out here. Anyway, moving on to probably the best game of the slate. You could argue Lions and Cowboys last night was. If it was a great game, maybe. If not, then it wasn't. But Dolphins, Ravens, right? I mean, this is basically for the number one spot in the AFC. I mean, Jack, I guess I'll go to you. I mean, this is obviously the biggest one here, man. Do you have a read on it, or are you just going to enjoy a dogfight of a football match?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Ravens are the hottest team in the NFL right now after beating the Niners, in San Francisco, who was, in my opinion, the number one ranked team in the league. So I'm not going to overthink this. I like the Ravens in this one at home. I know Mike McDaniel's squad is going to get up and get ready for this one. I think Tyreek Hill might have a big game in this one, but at the end of the day, I'm trusting Lamar. He's just absolutely unstoppable. So my plays in this one are Tyreek Hill over 8+ receptions. Miami is going to have to try and feed him the ball. We got no Waddle in this one. So if those running backs, Mostert and Achane, get bottled up, Tua's going to have to be throwing a lot of screen passes and balls down the field to Tyreek, get him a lot of very involved. So him 8+ receptions. I'm also going to throw Isaiah Likely 40+ yards in there. He has had that in I think 3 out of his past 4 games. So I like that. I like Likely a lot. If you parlay those two, plus 245 on FanDuel. So a lot of plus juice right there. Gotta love it.
Yeah, it's some plus money juice there. I love that. And look, whether Jalen Waddle's playing or not, I know he's confirmed out for this one. The Dolphins just feed Tyreek Hill, so he's going to probably soar over whatever his receptions number is. Look for him to have 10 plus. But I'll jump over to you, Will. Where are you reading this one?
Yeah, I really do hope for Tyreek 10 plus. Got him in the fantasy championship, so I really could get everything I need out of him this week. So, this is gonna be an electric game. The one number that's kind of staring to me in the face right now is the over under at 46 and a half. I feel like in a game like this, it's just awfully low. We saw how good the Ravens offense looked against one of the best defenses in the league against the 49ers. And we saw how good we know the Miami Dolphins probably arguably have the best offense in the NFL. Now, granted, they don't have Jalen Waddle, but it seems like all their running backs are good to go. Achane's healthy. Mostert, I believe he's questionable, but it seems like he's trending to playing. it seems like it's going to be an offensive game, and I think the Ravens have a fantastic defense, but I don't know what it is. Something just feels like they don't particularly match up well against this like very explosive, speedy Miami offense. So I love this over under. I think 46.5. I think it's just too low. I thought this game coming into this week was maybe going to be like a 52.5 or 53.5. And we're sitting here at a 46.5 line. So yeah, I like the over. I like over 46.5. Another play is that I like is the Tyreek Hill over, I believe, his receptions, which I think that line is over. I think either 6.5 or 7.5. I believe that's another one. I'm gonna throw one random like dark horse bet right here, and I'm gonna go with Nelson Aguilar first time touchdown score.
Oh, baby.
That's got to be like
That is spicy.
that's got to be like plus
I can
1600.
see it. It just that seems like, I'm telling you, I think it's gonna be a high offensive game, and you're just gonna see like everybody score.
Yeah, this is one of those games where you can just like you can get a monster SGP going, but because there's just going to be a lot of juice all over the board. These are one of the games where like, I'm not usually a SGP guy, but this is one where you want to just lock in on one game and get like 5 or 6 picks going. You can get some good juice there. But before I jump over to Brian, Will, did you have something to tail in? Maybe throw an extra pick in there, or were you all wrapped up?
No, I was just gonna say if you wanted to take Aguilar first time touchdown, it's plus 3,200 right there.
Yeah, so I like what Will said about the over, but here's the thing. So last year this game was 42-38. So the odds makers over there are just foaming at the mouth, thinking everybody is gonna expect the same thing to happen. But the Ravens defense is a whole lot better than it was last year. The Dolphins defense is a ton better than it was last year. The Ravens' leading receiver in that game was Mark Andrews. He's done for the year. Isaiah Likely's good, but he's not Mark Andrews. This has Ravens minus 3.5 written all over it. Dolphins coming off that huge emotional win. The Ravens, of course, I mean, another emotional win, but that was a blowout game. And this is a spot where I'm just big braining this. If the Ravens win here, they clinch the bye in the AFC. The Steelers play the Seahawks this week on the West Coast. Mike Tomlin is 3-7 in his career on the West Coast. He's not winning that game. Mike Tomlin has won 9 games in his career. 13 out of the 16 times he's been a coach of the Steelers. So he's getting to 9 wins, and that's going to happen next week against the Ravens when they rest their starters. So because of that reason alone, I'm taking the Ravens minus 3.5.
Not taking the under though.
No, I'm not taking the under because it could very well be a 42-38 game again. I'm just saying it probably won't be.
That's true. No, I like what you said. The defenses are much better this year. So I think there's a reason that the number might be a little lower. Like you said, it could go either way. This is one where I stay away because knowing me, whichever one I take, it's going the complete opposite direction. I'm taking the Tyreek over the receptions. I mean, how can you not? The guy's going to get fed. Even like, dude, they'll throw like 3 bubble screens to him on the same drive. Like he'll have 3 or 4 catches on the opening drive that they have the ball. So I look for him to soar over this number, bearing like a major like injury or forced out. Like that's the only way this doesn't hit. If he plays the full game, this bet is cashing. Tyreek Hill's going over receptions. You can book it. Unfortunately, we can't squad ride it because Brian has other plans for this game. But yeah, should be probably the best one on the slate. So definitely going to be locked in for that one. And obviously, let us know if you guys put a little SGP together and win some coin. But moving on to playoff implication game, but kind of dog shit game. Saints travel to Tampa, take on the Buccaneers. Should be pretty sunny, warm weather. Just, not that Northeast or Midwest cold, brutal coldness flying through. Maybe we see a lot of points over under set at 42.5. But I will start with you, Bri. How do you see this one playing out? As the red hot Bucks behind Baker Mayfield look to solidify some playoff positioning.
Yeah, the red hot Bucks behind Baker and Rachaad White. I feel like Rachaad White's not getting enough recognition. This guy's getting either 70 plus all-purpose yards or a touchdown pretty much the whole second half of the season. I know he took his all-purpose yards a couple weeks ago and he cashed that with ease. So shout out Rachaad White, friend of the program. But I mean, the thing is here, the Bucks, you said it, they're red hot. They can clinch the division with a win at home. They're going to do that. The Saints are dead. Derek Carr sucks. I won't even get into how much we hate him because we've already done that a lot on this show, and I'm sure he's sick of hearing that because he's also a listener. Shout out Derek Carr, but you suck. So yeah, the Bucks are winning this game. I'll take him on the money line because the spread is low, and then I'll take Rachaad White over 50 rushing yards, buy down his line a little bit to get you a plus money there.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting one because the Saints and the Bucks always play each other, so it's like always a very bizarre game. One thing that always stands out to me now, it's a little bit different because I don't believe he is playing. I believe he is out. Uh, it's always a popcorn, like get your popcorn ready. Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans. That matchup is always someone's getting ejected. Every game, someone's getting ejected from that. Unfortunately, Lattimore is not playing, so I was tempted to take the Evans under yards, but I hate taking unders, but it'd be fun to do that. Yeah, this is such a tricky. This is a really tricky game for me here. I really don't know where to lean on this one. It's a tough one. I've been back and forth. I like the Bucks. I really do like the Bucks. They've been playing really well, and the Bucks were one of the teams I had as a sleeper this year because I truly thought like there was people who were coming out here saying the Bucks are gonna win like 5-6 games, and it's like this team still has such a good roster.
Mhm.
Like yeah, they did go from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. That's that's a little bit of a downgrade. Uh, but they still have such a good roster, offense, defense. The only problem was like last year, like O-line just like got disintegrated in like 1 week, and they just didn't have anything there. So I'm gonna stay away from the over/under in this game. One line I do really like though is the total receptions for Chris Godwin, which is over 5.5 at plus 140. Chris Godwin the last 2 weeks has been really, really effective. I believe in the last 2 games, I think he had 12 receptions 2 weeks ago and then 10 receptions last week. So they've been finally giving him the ball. Like they really haven't been giving him the ball that much in the last 6, 7 weeks, but last 2, 3 weeks, they've been really feeding him the ball. I just think that over 5.5, I think he'll easily smash that in a game where I could see again, Mike Evans doesn't particularly play well against the Saints. So I could see Chris Godwin really getting a lot. And
Yeah, all right, real quick for you. My bet in this one, it's pretty criminal that it's plus money right now, but Baker over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I mean, right now it's plus 124 on FanDuel. Don't really understand that. When these two teams met earlier in the year, Baker threw for 3 touchdowns against the Saints. And he's also in his last 3 games throw for 2 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, and another 2 touchdowns. So Baker, all signs are pointing to Baker to throw for 2 touchdowns in this game. Don't understand why it's still plus money. He's at home. We got good weather in Tampa. Give it to me.
It's a big Baker spot. And dude, maybe Mike Evans is on the receiving end of those 2 touchdowns, which brings up maybe you sprinkle Evans to have 2 touchdowns. Patriots, Bills, another dog shit one. Right? Everybody thinks Bills are going to just blow them out, yada, yada, yada. But the Patriots have looked somewhat competent. I was on the Patriots early in the year. They bit me in the ass time and time again. 14 points is a lot of points. I hate the pushes. Give me the plus 14.5. I'll take the half point. Plus 14.5. Bill Belichick, go into Buffalo and get a job done. This same type of game, I think it was I don't think it was last year, but 2 years ago, they went in there and they got the job done behind, I think, Damian Harris and won a 14-7 ice cold, super windy game. Maybe play the under. That's 40.5 too, if you want to play that. But give me the Patriots plus 14.5. Go do a job, Bill. Go cover some points. Brian, what do you got?
I'm not gonna ride the Patriots with you just because they did look like the better team last week. I mean, the Bills struggled with the Chargers, and the Patriots, of course, beat the Broncos. But I can't trust the Patriots, man. Even
Put up
after
26 points as well.
they did, but I just can't trust them. And that's crazy because I can't really trust the Bills either. So I'm going to take Josh Allen anytime touchdown in this game. James Cook, as much as I love him, has been struggling with fumbles. Leonard Fournette is somehow only 28 years old. I feel like he should be 35 by now. But
Yeah.
his legs just aren't there. And then Latavius Murray, like I have a lot I could say about Latavius Murray, but for the sake of just moving the show along, I'll hold off for now. But so it's going to be on Josh Allen's shoulders to kind of win this game for Buffalo. Again, they should win, but I see Josh Allen having a great all-purpose yards day, especially with, Stephon Diggs, and Gabe Davis was good last week, but he hasn't really done anything all season. So it's going to be on Josh Allen this week, and he's going to find his way into the end zone.
Yeah, the Patriots have been very. It's funny. I feel like Bill and the Patriots, like anytime they play a team that they just don't specifically like, they just specifically like just flip the switch and actually start trying. Like they don't. I don't think they particularly like the Steelers. They went out and beat them. They don't really like the Chiefs. I'm pretty sure they lost by 10, but I'm pretty sure they probably covered in that game. I think that game was
Yeah.
like 12 and a half. They covered that game. And then they don't. I don't really think they like Denver. They go out in Denver, beat them. I think 14 points is, I just think it's too much.
A lot.
Every time we see a huge spread like this, especially for a team that's like good, I mean, not like good, but should be. I thought the Patriots be way better than have what, 3 wins on the year, 4 wins on the year. I mean, I like them to cover, and then as a prop bet, I also like I like James Cook. He's the last few weeks he's really been turning it on. I mean, he had that really bad fumble against the Chargers the other week, but besides that, he's especially at home, he's really been running the ball hard, and he's been really playing well. So yeah, give me James Cook over on the yards, and then give me the Patriots to cover that for.
And I don't know if it's that much that they might not like Denver, but Bill Belichick definitely fucking hates Sean Payton, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way he
Yeah.
likes that guy. So they went out there and wanted to win that game.
The
So-
Brady versus Peyton, or something like back then, because they always
Yeah.
played back in the like AFC Championship over and over again. It would always be the Denver, New England AFC chip.
Yeah, I feel like more like Sean Payton, the head coach. Like Bill Belichick probably definitely was not a fan of him. And they both have had scandals in the NFL, right? I mean, wasn't Payton part of like the fucking headhunter shit? And
Bounty Gate.
Bill Belichick, Deflategate, videotaping other team. I mean, he's got a fucking long grocery list of what he's done in his tenure. But yeah, two controversial guys, and they went out there and got a job done last week. 14's a lot of points. Will, are you buying the half point? Yeah, you're buying the half point. We don't do pushes around here. Plus 14 and a half out of Will. Or are you going to go 13 and a half just to be different?
I
Really?
I can see this being like maybe like a 10-point game. I could see it being closer than that.
Why not? I mean, dude, you kind of said it, like pretty close in location to where both teams are from. Obviously, it'll be dominated by Bills fans, but dude, the Patriots close to home, they'll probably put up a fight, is what I'm guessing. And now they very well could get blown out, and this is a total square play. But I'm gonna take the fucking Patriots plus 14 and a half. Jack, end us off here, man. How are you seeing this one go down? Is it gonna be close, or is it gonna be a shit show?
Yeah, this is always an interesting, sort of like the Bucks and the Saints. This is always an interesting divisional game between these Patriots and Bills.
Yep.
I don't want to touch the 14-point spread either way. I could see it going, close game. I could see the Bills blowing them out. I'm gonna ride the hot hand over there in Buffalo. I know we talked about his fumble issues, but James Cook has been so involved in this offense over the past few weeks, both running the ball and receiving the ball. So I'm going to take his total yards, page out of Brian's book, taking his total yards over 94 and a half.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Watch this be the one that hits all the times Brian bet on Cook and it didn't hit. And now this is the one that's going to hit. And
Hey,
here's
Cook's been
Brian
pretty
getting
good to me.
You bet
Okay.
you bet a lot on him to score. That's a problem. They just
That's,
like
the touchdown.
that's a problem.
He's been a
They
lot
get
of
inside the
anytime
5 and
touches.
they're like, Latavius, here you go.
Yeah,
Here's your 3 carries for the game.
I'm not gonna get started on Latavius Murray because we'll be here all night.
Yeah. And oh my God, there's so many fucking games. Rams traveling to Jet Life to take on the Giants. Giants almost, I'll give it to them. Almost, I don't want to say almost beat. They didn't almost fucking beat the Eagles last week, but they kept it a lot closer than what it should have been. And props to Tyrod Taylor. He stepped in. If DeVito played out that game, they probably were getting blown out. But Tyrod came in and kept it way closer. The Eagles weren't prepping for that. So I think there's a little bit of that where he kind of was able to maneuver around just defense not really being aware of what's coming, which Tyrod's been in the league for 50 years. So you should know what the fuck he's going to do. But yeah, I mean, this is a weird spot. I'm always a big teams traveling from the West Coast, coming to the East Coast and putting up a dud. but I just don't see how that happens again here. I can't take the Giants plus 5.5, although it is a weird number, right? It seems like it should be a little higher. I'm gonna stay away from that. I think I'm gonna roll with Puka over receptions, and I kind of want to take Saquon rushing, but I know Jack loves taking that, so I'm not going to take that. And I'll see what you got on this one, Jack. Maybe that's the one you want to take.
No, definitely not. I'm actually sometimes a fan of Saquon's under on rushing, but I'm not going to touch his line in this one. I'm actually going to go to the other running back and Kyron Williams. His line set at 94.5 yards. He's cleared 100 yards in I don't even know how many games I've watched over the
A
past few
lot of games.
so many games. I mean, when he's healthy and he is humming, he runs hard. It's like not Isaiah Pacheco level hard, but it's fun to watch, and I'm a big fan of him. So give me Kyron Williams over on the rushing. It's been hitting. I'm just gonna stay consistent with it. Let's ride it in another week here.
Yeah, man, he's been lights out, flicking the ball to his mom in the stands. That was electric. I mean, that's what you dream of, right? Growing up. I mean, flipping the ball to his mom in the stands, the whole thing on TV, national TV, whatever you want to call it. That was pretty cool. Will, what do you got, dude?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because honestly, Giants kept it close, even though the Eagles said, "Here you go. Here's every point possible for you."
Right.
But no, I really do like the Rams in this. They've really turned their season around. I mean, they looked pretty brutal the first 5-6 weeks, and then they got Cooper Kupp back, and then all of a sudden, Puka Nacua has just been. I mean, I believe I'm not sure how many yards he exactly needs to break the rookie receiving record that's held by Jamar Chase, but
147.
so he needs so 72 for the next 2 weeks, which
Yeah.
I can see him easily do. I mean, he had 160 last week.
Yep.
Yeah. You should have
ye-
100 plus in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can easily see this. But again, this is going off what Jack said earlier. I love Kyron. I might have a little bias because I got him in fantasy, but absolutely been killing it for me. But he just finds a way to score. He just gets yards. It's crazy. The guy, I feel like he's averaging like 160 yards per game. It's incredible. So I'm just gonna go basic here, and I'm going to go Kyron Williams anytime touchdown, and then yeah, I'm just gonna keep it like that. I don't really I could see this game being like maybe a low scoring game. I don't know. The Giants are such a weird team to predict. Like one week they can look really good, and the next week they're starting Tyrod Taylor, and I mean the Giants are the Giants. That's just the easiest way to describe it. The Giants are the Giants. So just give me Kyron Williams to score a touchdown.
I like what Will said about the Giants just being a weird team, right? So I think this locker room is going to be in the same headspace as me after this week, where you went into Philly, you played a great game, you really wanted to win that game, but they played hard, they showed fight, and they almost won. And now you play the Rams, a home game, but you don't really have any ties to the Rams, and then you have the Eagles again next week. So there's kind of a spot where it's like, yeah. So I do think the Rams win this game, especially with McVay needing to get back into the playoffs. The Rams have an 80% chance if they win this game. If they lose, they might be a little rattled. So I do like Puka Nacua here. McVay showed last week that he really wanted to get him the Rams single season receiving record, and I think he's going to want to get him the overall NFL record. McVay is that kind of guy that knows these things are happening, and he knows Puka's his best playmaker this year. So those two things go together, along with the Giants having a pretty awful secondary. It just makes sense. So Puka over 70.5 yards is my play.
That's coming up right now.
Coming up next.
Eagles at home. Jonathan Gannon returns. I hope this guy gets booed to oblivion. It's one of those weird ones where like they'll probably like get up for this game and Kyler Murray will go off. I'm already expecting that. I've already mentally accepted that so that I do not have to have an irritating New Year's Eve, although they'll still manage for that to happen. Eagles got to get it done, right? Keep trucking along, controlling what they can control. This is an inferior opponent. Inferior. You have no business butchering this game. I'm not taking the -12 because that's just too many points. I don't care. It's my team. This has Jalen Hurts rushing yards written all over it. 44.5 is pretty low. So I'll go 44.5 for him. And look, Devonta Smith keeps his mouth shut, talks to the media, and shows up to play. I'll take his over on receiving yards. I think it's a little low. Could see them try to feed A.J. Brown, but I think a lot of teams are starting to key on A.J. Brown just because of all the media shit that's going around as well. They know the Eagles are going to try and feed him because, again, my favorite team, love the Eagles, but we can all agree A.J. Brown, bit of a drama queen or king here. So the Eagles are going to try and make him happy, obviously paying him $25 million a year. So they'll try and feed him, but Devonta Smith should be wide open on the crossing routes all game long. The middle of the field should be wide open. Hurts over rushing yards. Devonta Smith over receiving yards. I think you can maybe get some juice with DeAndre Swift on rushing yards as well. I really love Hurts's rushing, so I will make that official play. Some other plays in there that you might be able to sprinkle in for some juice. Will, as the other Birds fan, best team of all the teams here that we root for, what do you got?
Yeah, it's nice not to hear the delusional things that I had to hear last week with Danny Cutlets. I'm sorry, with Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets. The amount of stuff, dumb things I heard come out of Brian and Blake's mouth last week was
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I really sat there. I really sat there editing it, and I'm like, what the hell am I listening to right now? So we're gonna be more realistic this week. I actually have a lot of juice in this game, because I love this game. Cardinals are one of, like, growing up, I've also liked the Cardinals as well. They're not obviously way more, but they were always my second favorite team growing up. Just because Arizona is a second home besides when the Eagles play out there, because it's always a fucking nightmare anytime we play in Arizona, regardless of what fucking sport. So I'm gonna have a lot of juice in this game. The last time the Eagles played the Cardinals was in Arizona. It was Jalen Hurts versus Kyler Murray, and it was kind of that weird season the Eagles just like threw Hurts in the fire and said, "There you go, just do whatever you got to do." And it was like one of the craziest games. It was like 38-35. I think the Cardinals won. Hopkins went off. So the over-under, I think, in this game, I think it's going to smash. Eagles offense is still putting up points. Our defense still gives up so much. I think 48 is too low. I think this game's going to go over 50 plus. Another play I like is Trey McBride to score a touchdown. I mean, he's really been the go-to guy to score for the Cardinals. Kyler Murray's really just been targeting the hell out of him every time. And now they don't have Marquise Brown, so they really don't have anyone to throw him the ball. And I don't know what it is. The Eagles always love to give up touchdowns to tight end. I don't know what it is. Well, besides if your name's Darren Walker, that doesn't count. But Trey McBride anytime touchdown. The over. And then let's go with Devonta Smith over receiving yards. AJ, he's been doing good, but it seems like Devonta Smith has really been kind of more focal point going on. But
yeah, before we get Brian's anti-Eagles parlay, let me just throw out Kyler Murray. His rushing line is set at 28.5. You know that this Eagles defense is going to try and get after him. He's going to have plenty of room to scramble. Hopefully he'll have room to scramble. He's going to have to scramble for his life. So give me the over on his rushing yards, especially without Marquise Brown, one of his top targets in this one. Likely not going to be as many people open. He's going to have to make all the plays. And the Eagles haven't been necessarily a great team defending the quarterback through the air and on the ground. So I like Kyler just to get a pretty modest 30 yards rushing this game.
Yeah, that's an easy thing for him to achieve, right? I've given that out 3 or 4 times throughout the season, and I think it's only missed once. And honestly, it might have hit every single time. So love that play. If it weren't playing the Eagles, I would be all over that, but I'm not taking any Cardinals props when they play the Birds. Guess we will give Brian the floor for this one.
And my anti-Eagles parlays are 0 for the season. So I need to hit something. So I got to try something new. And I think to do that, I'm going to have to confuse the football gods here. I'm going to sing a song by the Eagles as the anti-Birds song. So, 2 negatives might equal a positive. So maybe we'll get some good juice here. But here we go. Season's on the burner, gonna lose to Arizona. Such a fine sight to see. It's Kyler, my lord. Oh, he may be short, but he's throwing for 3 TDs. Come on, Wilson, stop disappearing. You're gonna hit your over yards because Bradbury's a bum. Arizona wins in Philly.
Great. Glad we got that one wrapped up.
Over?
Yeah, it's over. You can put the headphones back in.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Brian,
have to hear it multiple times when I edit this. So last thing I want to do is hear it one extra
Brian,
time.
let's run through the picks you just gave out there, because I'm sure everybody watching isn't gonna want to sit there and listen to that. But what were the picks, real quick, and then let's jump on to the next one.
Kyler Murray, 3 touchdowns. Michael Wilson.
Remember when you drafted Michael Wilson? How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, I do
Now
remember
you're
that.
facing tomatoes, man.
Yep. My 2 sleepers this season were Michael Wilson and Puka Nacua, and I chose horribly wrong. So that's fun.
Well, yeah, now the tomatoes you're staring down the barrel, and there's a lot of tomatoes sitting there.
Yep.
And some pissed off league members
Wow.
already in spring training doing bullpen sessions and getting mound work. Good luck this weekend, buddy. Moving on. Niners, Commanders. Shit show. Is this a letdown spot for the Niners, even though they just got blown out last week? Do they travel across country and the Commanders make some magic work? I don't think so. But the NFL's fucking weird. Jack, what do you see happening here?
Yeah, the NFL is fucking weird, but no, this is a get right spot for Brock Purdy and for this 49ers offense. I think they absolutely go out there and dominate these Commanders. They're probably pretty pissed off about losing last week to the Ravens, but they're going to win this game. They're going to keep their home field advantage hopes alive as we head into the final week 18. I don't necessarily have any love for any sort of plays in this game. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trust that Brock Purdy cooks in this one, whether Shanahan wants to see it, whether he thinks Brock Purdy needs to see it for himself. Give me the over on his touchdowns in this one. I think he's going to cook it up a little bit.
Brian, what do you see happening here?
Yeah, I like Jack's analysis there. I'm going to go a little bit of a different route and take Purdy to not throw an interception, just because Kyle Shanahan might not let him throw the ball in this game after last week. So I don't know the amount of juice on that. If you need to parlay it with like the Niners -5.5, just to get it looking like a decent number. But I feel like Purdy's line will be pretty close to even. So I'm confident in that under 0.5 interception.
Will, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, this is a weird one. So I don't know what it is. I feel like every week I look in, like, I'll have Red Zone on and I'll see Washington's down like 28-0. And then all of a sudden, like, won't hear anything about the game. I look and it's like 28-20 all of a sudden. So I don't know what it is with like this team just randomly coming back and just making it somewhat of a game. There's 2 specific lines that I do like in this game. Brandon Ayuk seems like all of a sudden just seems like the go-to guy in this San Fran offense. And I don't think anyone on like Washington's defense is so shit. I can't imagine anybody really containing them at all. And I think 68.5 is too low for Ayuk. So give me Ayuk over 86.5, 86 over 68.5. And then another line that I do like is give me the Niners spread in the first half. Because again, I don't know what it is. Then the Washington just likes to come back in the fourth quarter. I mean, they've done it against the Rams 2 weeks ago. They did it against the Jets. Like, I remember having family over, and it's like, yep, the Jets are, the Jets are up 28-0. Don't really have to watch it. And all of a sudden, I look at 28-28, and the Jets are kicking a game-winning field goal. It's like, what the hell happened? So yeah, give me Niners first half spread. I'm not sure what the exact points is on that, but whatever it is, it's probably going to be, my guess it's probably be like 7.5. I'm guessing.
Yeah, it'll probably be 6.5, 7.5.
6.5, 7.5. Give me that. I think they'll have like a 10 point plus lead at the end of the first half.
Yeah, I got like what's McCaffrey's total scrimmage yards? I don't know if it's going to be rushing or through the air, but whatever his scrimmage yards is, give me the over on that. I think you could see him have 150. I don't want to take the anytime touchdown because it's probably like -200, and knowing me, I'll throw that in there and he fucking won't get in. But I think whatever his total scrimmage yards is, I'm slamming that over. They're going to get him involved early and often. Purdy, might be a little hesitant to fling the ball down the field after 4 interceptions. He's going to go to all reliable dump offs out of the backfield. Look for McCaffrey to have a big day on the ground and through the air. I'm taking over on the scrimmage yards. And I think we can jump into the next one. I didn't miss anybody, right? I'm getting the fucking COVID brain fog. Oh my God. It's never ending with these games. Raiders, Colts, a lot of playoff implications. Raiders have been the hotter team, but the Colts probably get Pittman back this weekend. I mean, is he like on his not deathbed, but like, is he like, oh my gosh, he got tackled, he's got to go into the blue tent, or like, can he get tackled? Like, I feel like I got to stay away from Pittman props because if he gets touched, he's going to be yanked out of the game and fucking thrown in the blue tent, and it's going to be a shit show. So, Brian, I'll leave it up to you. Big playoff battle or playoff implications for this game, but other than that, kind of really a shitty game. I mean, these are what, fringe playoff wildcard teams.
Yeah,
What
this is kind of the battle of, what team's going to get blown out by the Dolphins or Chiefs or whatever team they play in that first round.
Yeah.
Colts kind of in the driver's seat with a win, be 70%, but then it goes down to 25% if they lose. And then the Raiders they really need some help. But if they win out, they have a chance. And the Raiders have been good since Antonio Pierce took over, 4-3. And that defense with Robert Spillane in the middle has been looking pretty good. 18 points per game allowed. They just held the Chiefs to 17. And the Colts showed us last week that they played a decent defense, not a great defense, but a decent one against the Falcons, and they really struggled. So they may be home, but I don't trust them enough to cover 3.5 points. So Raiders plus 3.5 is my bet.
I'm with Brian on this one. My bet is also the Raiders to cover these 3.5 points. Their defense it is a small sample size, but over the last 2 weeks have been the best defense in the NFL. I mean, the turnovers, the sacks, they are playing possessed. Max Crosby, we all know him. He's got a motor like no one else, but that secondary has come alive. Nate Hobbs making plays out there, and then they got some hard-hitting safeties as well. So I'm a big fan of the Raiders right now. I think that they're going to go into Indianapolis and win this game. Tough for Gardner Minshew, but maybe this is a little bit of Jags bias in me, just hoping the Colts lose, but everything's pointing to the Raiders putting on a good showing. I think with or without Josh Jacobs, whether it's him or Zamir White, that running back is going to get 20, 25 carries, and they're just going to grind it all day, play good defense. That's what Antonio Pierce likes to do, and he's been doing it well.
Dude, the Colts at home play a lot better than they do on the road. I don't know what the Colts team total is, but I'm taking their team total on over. I think it could be sitting in the 20 range. Take that. I mean, dude, they could score 30 points, I think. Minshew, 230 passing yards. He's soaring over. And as long as Pittman can get tackled and not get yanked out by an independent neurologist, he's going over his receiving yards and he's going over his receptions. But that's a tough play because the NFL's soft now and these guys can't get hit. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But yeah, Minshew should be airing the ball out all over the place, and we should see the Colts score some points. I think they play a lot better at home. And if they got the black helmets on, it's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. 40 points for the Colts.
Yeah, this is, I don't know. It's such a weird, I feel like the Raiders and the Colts to me are so similar. Like one week they'll look really good, and then the next week they'll look like shit. I mean, the Raiders might have like the biggest jump between points in a 2-week span. Like 1 week they scored 0 points against the Vikings, and then the next week they scored 62 fucking points. I don't, and there's no difference on the offense. It made no sense. This is a game. It's such a tricky one to bet on. You guys are all about the Raiders. Like I said, they're so hit or miss. I feel like maybe they're good at home, but then again, they scored 0 points at home. So, the one line I do really like is just give me whoever's running the damn ball in the Raiders. Whoever it is running the damn ball in the Raiders, they're getting their over on yards. They just Aiden O'Connell only had completions in the first quarter. He didn't have one completion in the second, third, or fourth quarter in that game against the Chiefs. Zamir White, Josh Jacobs. I mean, Josh Jacobs is doubtful. Give me Zamir White over yards. Easy play.
Yeah, I mean, could it happen? Sure. I mean, the Colts defense, I don't think is particularly amazing. So, all right, moving on. How the hell are the Panthers plus 3.5 against the Jags? Brian, where are you reading this one? I guess Lawrence is out, but Jesus, man, the Panthers have 2 wins.
The
Jaguars should win by 14 plus points.
The Jaguars suck. I mean, we'll get to Jack later and see if he has any like saving grace about this team, but they're horrible. I mean, the Panthers are horrible too. So I don't know where to go here. I guess Travis Etienne, all-purpose yards. We'll get a little APY action going. But yeah, this game's a disgrace.
Will, I'll leave it to you, man. Where are you reading this one?
Oh God, just give me the gun, man. Panthers. I mean, I feel like the only person you can somewhat confidently bet on the Panthers is like Adam Thielen, who has been nowhere near as good as he was to start the season this year. The Jags is siege. Honestly, like even the Panthers really plus 3.5. That's insane.
Yeah,
I
It's
still like the
ridiculous.
I still like the Jags to win it, even with CJ Beathard playing this game. I feel like he came in. I forget which game it was for the Jags that he came in and when Trevor got hurt. I believe it was one of the primetime game, one of the Thursday games, and he came in and he actually didn't look that bad. So just honestly, I'm just gonna take Jags money line in this. I just the Panthers suck, man. They're bad.
Look, the Jags without Trevor Lawrence, it might be a little bit scary at first, but have faith in CJ Beathard, guys. This defense is getting healthy. They're going to come back alive. It's going to be a big Travis Etienne day. We know, yeah, so Doug Peterson, he's able to win these kinds of games, control the clock, play defense. I think the Jags are going to turn over Bryce Young and their offense a couple times in this game. So really looking forward to that. Some big defensive plays out of Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker on the line. Rayshon Jenkins might have an interception in this one. So I'm really liking the way that the Jags defense is shaping up in this one. I think they cover that 3.5 points. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers are limited to maybe 3 or 6 points in this one.
Yeah, man. I think you kind of said it right there with Doug Peterson. Regardless who's playing, he's a good coach, right? I mean, Super Bowl champion, experience in the league, kind of knows how to manage these games out. And the Panthers aren't very good. So I think you can take Jags money line and feel confident. To your point, Will, with Thielen, I think I threw his receiving yards out the other week, and that hit with ease. So you can always slam his receiving yards. But I'll just stick with Jags money line, and hopefully Dougie P can get it done. I guess that's a home game for them, but hopefully he can get it done and kind of steer the Jags in the right direction because they kind of need it bad with obviously their quarterback down. But yeah, that I think wraps it up for the 1 o'clock slate. We'll jump over to the late window, which is the 4 Steelers Seahawks out in Seattle. Big game for the Seahawks, right? I mean, they need to win this game, but a big game for the Steelers. The Steelers are 8-7 as well. Brian, I'm curious how you're reading this one.
I mentioned it earlier. The Steelers are 3-7 under Mike Tomlin on the West Coast, but they always get to 9 wins. So with that being said, and especially because I picked the Ravens earlier, the Seahawks are going to win this game. Steelers will beat the Ravens next week. So the Seahawks minus 3.5 is my play.
Will, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because like I've hated the Steelers all year. They've just been a team that just like they just look shit every week, but they find a way to win. It's the most bizarre thing ever.
Well, that's been the last fucking 20 years with them. I know
Yeah,
they've
pretty
had
much.
some like dynamite teams.
The last like
But-
few years, but this year it's been bad. Like I mean, I think I saw a stat line. It was oh God, I'm trying to think. Joe Flacco has more passing touchdowns this season than Kenny Pickett does in his entire career, which is just absolutely crazy. For this game, I'm gonna just give me the Seahawks minus 3.5 here. I think the Steelers will find a way to keep this game close. Seahawks just play pretty well at home. We saw how they played against the Eagles a few weeks ago, and they played fairly decent. Yeah, but I could just see the Seahawks easily winning this game against the Steelers. Like you said, Brian, they find a way to get 9 wins, so they'll probably lose this game. And then if the Ravens win this week, they get maybe a free win against them. But give me the Seahawks minus 3.5.
Yeah, don't love the spread in this one because I think the Steelers are going to keep it close. I think my play in this one's just going to be the under. I might buy up a couple points just because 41 and a half is a little bit of a gross number to me. So I think I like 43 and a half a little bit more. So if you guys are willing to do that, buy it up to 43 and a half, take the under.
Yeah, not a bad play there. I like the Seahawks on the spread, but I'm going to go the 2.5. I think they win by a field goal. And then the Steelers get their 9th win next week when the Ravens are resting everybody. So look for the Seahawks to go out there, get the job done, and win by at least a field goal at home. Chargers, Broncos, pretty disgusting game. I benched Flacco last night in my fantasy championship because I did not want to put that championship game on the line for Thursday night. Kind of blew up in my face because he went off. Had Trevor Lawrence as the backup. He is now ruled out. So I'm stuck with Jared Stidham. Chargers defense fucking sucks. And I'm going to need a big Stidham day. So I'll take Stidham's over passing yards, over rushing yards, and I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get too crazy with touchdowns, but hopefully he can add a couple touchdowns in there as well. Don't need to spend too much time on this. Chargers are in, turmoil, horrible, terrible franchise. Went on a rant about them week 1. Check back in the other pods if you want to check that out. But yeah, give me Stidham's overs, and I'll jump over to you guys. I get it. He went to Auburn, War Eagle. We don't need the whole thing. Go, Brian.
Yeah, we're damn. This Jared Stidham versus Easton Stick kind of describes this NFL season in a nutshell. But yeah, Jared Stidham's going to go over his passing yards. That's going to be my pick, and I hope we can all ride it because I would love to do a little Jared Stidham same game, or I guess squad ride here.
Yeah, Will looks like he's ready to blow that up.
Yeah, that's no. I'm the complete opposite with Jared Stidham.
Yeah,
I can just see this because this whole Russell Wilson situation that's just unfolded last 2 weeks. I mean, having Sean Payton screaming at Russell Wilson on the sidelines, just something's just always been off with everything that's going on there. I can see this game kind of like being a big fuck you to the Denver Broncos franchise. I'm not gonna take the passing yards. I'm not gonna take the over under the passing yards. I honestly think the Chargers are gonna win this game. I think this is gonna be a big fuck you game for Denver, and I think Russell Wilson's gonna sit on the bench and just laugh and be like, "I fucking told you guys. You guys needed me. You guys really needed me."
Yeah, Will, I'm not with you, bud, at all. I'm with Brian. I think that for Sean Payton to make this move, he's got to have the confidence in Jarrett Stidham to, trot him out there. And this Chargers defense is bad. So I think Sean Payton is going to give the fuck you treatment to Russell Wilson, not the, oh, you guys needed me. It's the, no, we don't need you. The Woody meme, I don't want to play with you anymore. I mean, that's what we're getting. Those are the vibes we're getting over there in Denver. I think Sean Payton goes out of his way to make Jared Stidham have a day against a pretty crap Chargers defense. They're pretty soft. So I think Stidham, I'm riding with you guys over on the passing yards. And I'm also going to take the Broncos to cover 3 points. Actually, we don't like pushes. So give me 2.5. What's the line? No, the line's 3.5. Give me the line. Give me 3.5 and Stidham to go over on the passing yards.
Oh yeah, big Stidham day incoming. I love it. And look, Russell Wilson's tenure there has been super weird and hasn't been very good. I don't see it just magically, working in his favor that he got benched. If anything, the Broncos are going to go light it up, and Stidham's going to go off, and it's going to blow up in Wilson's face before it blows up in Peyton's face. That's just the way I see it based on Wilson's entire tenure there. Broncos country, let's ride. But we'll see what happens. It comes, when the game plays out. But finally, moving on to the final game, I guess, of the 4:00 window. Or is this a Sunday night game? I guess I should probably know. 4:00 window, Bengals Chiefs. Not a horrible game. Chiefs we've seen struggle the last couple weeks, obviously. So, what the hell's going on with them? Is it Patrick Mahomes? Is it the play calling? Is it that the receivers can't just catch the fucking ball? Maybe a little bit of both. I think it's definitely the receivers not being able to catch the ball. We always say Chiefs in a get right spot, Chiefs in a get right spot. and now they have 6 losses. So I don't know what the hell's going on with Mahomes. The offense, I guess the defense is playing better. But look, man, is Pacheco playing? Is he back?
We don't
What's
know
his
yet.
deal?
50-50. He truly is 50-50.
I guess you can't ride his rushing yards over then, but hopefully Rashee Rice can go over his receiving yards. Hopefully Mahomes can go over his passing yards. And do we have word on Jamar Chase confirmed out?
He's trending towards playing.
Trending towards playing. I was gonna say you can slam some Higgins props if Chase is out, but if he's playing, stay far away from Higgins. Game Mahomes over passing yards. I'll take Rashee Rice over receiving yards, and let's have a day out in Kansas City.
Yeah, everyone likes to blame the Chiefs wide receivers, but Rashee Rice has probably been their best pass catcher in the last couple of games. Travis Kelce's just not very good now. It's weird. But the last time the Bengals played on New Year's Eve, it was the Andy Dalton to Tyler Boyd miracle in Baltimore that sent the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs before they were I guess you could call them a dynasty, the mediocre dynasty that they are now. So I like the Bengals juju on New Year's Eve. I think with Jamar Chase back, I was going to say for some reason, but I guess his good reason, he hates Kansas City. And Jake Browning, although he looked bad last week, he still threw for 300 yards, and he's still been a good quarterback for them. So I like the Bengals +7. I think that's too many points against a bad Chiefs team.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. The Chiefs haven't looked good at all this year. This is, I don't know, it's like a weird game to read here. Both teams, like the Chiefs defense has still been fantastic, but their offense really has been very sketchy, and potential no Pacheco, it's going to be tough because their running back room is so depleted right now. CH also dealing with an illness, might not play. So it might literally be LaMichael P. Ryan as their starting running back this week, which is just absolutely disgusting. The Bengals have been getting cooked in the air a lot, though, this year, especially over the last few weeks. Not going to say it's a get-right game for the Chiefs. I could just see Mahomes throwing for like 330, but maybe only throwing for like a touchdown here. I think that +7 line's a little high. I mean, I could see the Bengals covering, but it's this Bengals Chiefs is always such a weird, it's such an interesting matchup usually, but I'm just going to take the Mahomes over in the 270. I think it's too low, and I think we'll see him throw the ball a lot. They literally might not run the ball at all this game. And another line I like too with Mahomes as well. Mahomes has been running the ball a lot. I feel like all the time you see him just take off constantly. It's like, well, none of my receivers are open. They're not going to catch the damn ball, so I might as well run it for 15 yards. I'm not too sure what his line is for rushing yards, but honestly, I wouldn't mind throwing that down as well.
Yeah, I just want to quickly shout out that I'll third that statement right there. Mahomes has been scrambling a lot lately. I mean, it's most likely a product of his receivers and Travis Kelce at tight end just not getting open enough. Something that's not too characteristic in an Andy Reid offense, but Mahomes has had to use his legs a lot, and I definitely like the play on his over for the rushing yards. Where I'm heading in this game, Travis Kelce, I mean, he's got to be seeing everything that is getting thrown out in the media. I mean, does he really care? I don't know. We'll see. The dude's living his life, dating Taylor Swift, but I mean, everybody's been chirping him, saying that he hasn't been him. He's lost a step, all this stuff. The Bengals have a pretty soft secondary. This is the spot. I will say it. This is a get right spot for Travis Kelce. This is going to be a primetime game. So, kind of like that for him. Maybe is this America's Game of the Week? It might be. These are two historied franchises against each other between in the Burrow and Mahomes era. So I like Travis Kelce to get right in this game. His line's sitting at 63.5. Give me the over and give me a touchdown as well.
Yeah, you usually don't get Kelce that low of a receiving total, but obviously he's been underperforming, so it makes sense. But definitely a get right spot for Kelce. Don't hate the play there. Finally, Sunday Night Football, Packers, Vikings. Brian, who's winning this fucking game, dude?
I don't know who's winning the game, but Justin Jefferson better go over his receiving totals so I don't get tomatoed in fantasy football.
Yeah, you need him to do that. Is that more of a, oh, yeah, this is going to hit, or, oh, my God, I don't want tomatoes pelted at my back. Justin Jefferson, please save me.
It's a little bit of both. It's a heart play, and then it's also Jordan Addison's dealing with an injury, and that whole Vikings kind of offense is banged up. So why not feed Jefferson?
Yeah, well, I don't hate it. Don't love it, but don't hate it because I don't know anything about the Vikings quarterback. This Hall guy, Will, where do you see? I mean, are you all over the Vikings here, or what do you got?
I didn't even. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even know. I thought Nick Mullins was starting in this game.
No, it's some guy last
Jaren
name named
Hall.
Hall.
We're just
Jaren,
throwing out any
Jaren Hall.
quarterbacks this year, man. This is just
It's
it's a
literally
shit show.
you might as well call this the XFL.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there might be better quarterbacks in the XFL than there is right now. That's crazy. Is I guess Alexander Madison is playing in this game. I know he was questionable last week, and Ty Chandler has looked pretty good out there. Honestly, he's been looking better than Alexander Madison. The 60 and the line, I think it's at 61.5. I think that's a pretty good line to take right there. I was gonna say, I was like, Nick Mullins hasn't looked so bad. I don't mind when taking his passing yards here, but there goes that. That's down the drain. This is such a shit game. I think I'm just gonna take it safe here, and I think I'm just gonna bet Justin Jefferson total receptions. It seems like they've been going to him a lot. They just haven't been getting him on these big plays that they normally get him. You know, he usually gets his like a 40, 50-yard touchdowns and all this. Actually, he had that one big play for the touchdown, but they're gonna find a way to target him. It's his line's probably about I'm guessing like a 6.5 or 7.5 reception line. I'll take that. It's like the only safe thing you really could take in this game. There's not much I like in this game, so just give me that.
But what we do know is that Justin Jefferson is all worldly, okay? For him to hit 75 yards in this game should be a bet. No Hawkinson, maybe no Addison, and KJ Osborne, he had a pretty good week last week after everybody else got hurt, but I'm not putting any faith in him. This is Justin Jefferson. It's going to be it's going to be a very funneled offense for these Vikings. It's going to go to Jefferson in the air. It's going to go Ty Chandler on the ground. Definitely some Madison mixed in if he's there, but I like Chandler a lot. To Will's point, he's looked very good over the past few weeks. And then I'm going to trust that Justin Jefferson gets it done. I shout out Jair Alexander, the Packers cornerback for messing up the pregame coin toss last week. Got himself suspended for this game, so that's another reason to love Jefferson in this game. He doesn't have to match up against the All-Pro corner on the other side. So give me Jefferson to go over his number of 78.5. I'm going to parlay that with Chandler to go over 60 yards rushing, and you're going to get some plus money there, and it's going to hit.
Yeah, I was gonna roll with the Chandler rushing and Chandler anytime touchdown. And then I wasn't gonna take this play at all, but just to show you guys that this Hall guy is an absolute bum and a scrub. I'm going under Justin Jefferson receiving yards. I can't wait till he goes out there and throws 30 yards up and it blows up. Look, it's one of those weird Vegas lines where it's like, hey, it's way too low. No way he doesn't go over this line and he's going to put up a dud, and you're going to see the true colors of this Hall guy that Brian claims isn't bad. Guarantee Brian hasn't watched 2 minutes of this guy's highlight tape, but
I watched the game where he got hurt. You look good.
oh yeah, he got hurt, man. Look great. Anyway, that wraps up Sunday Night Football and the entire slate. Obviously, a longer show with Will hopping on as a guest picker, giving some good analysis, and obviously all our other analysis and picks for the week. It was a big betting weekend. Got college football, college basketball, NFL, and a plethora of other sports to get in on some action. NHL, NBA, you name it, it's on. So have fun, be safe. A very happy new year from the boys from Section 400. And check out and look out for our live stream tomorrow on YouTube. We'll be live streaming there. And if you want a chance to get in, hop on, say what you got to say some comments. You can look out for the Discord link that'll allow you guys to jump in and get involved with the live show. But definitely look out for it on YouTube. That's all I got. I got brain fog right now. I just sat here for almost 3 hours doing this, and I'm about to go blow my brains out. Happy New Year. I'm out.
War Eagle. Go ride it out, Jared Stidham. You got this, bro.
Do something, get insurance.
Yeah, let's see Jared Stidham have a day.
All
Jared
right.
Stidham over 2.5 picks.